We got some people who ate at the revenge buffet. I have some hiccups, so reading might be interesting. He fooled me, used me, and lied until I turned the game around. When I, 30 female, met Dan, 43 male, in March 2021, he portrayed himself as a grounded, independent man. He was a convert to Islam. He had his own flat, a car, the latest Apple products, and had just returned from studying in Egypt for 2 years. It was a carefully curated image, spiritual, self-sufficient, and mature. I thought I'd found someone solid. We got married Islamically within a few weeks, but within months, I found myself footing the bill for everything. Meals, outings, etc. I couldn't go to his flat because he had a male lodger and needed the additional income to travel to Scotland to see his parents and be a dutiful son. He encouraged me to take out rented accommodation in my name with the stipulation that he would foot the rent. This was far from the truth, and he had every excuse under the sun. His parents in Scotland needed support, his remote employer was not paying him on time, his bills for his own place were too much due to the cost of living increase, etc. To shut me up, he would contribute 50 to 100 pounds here and there, then conveniently make me cover other things to balance it out. I'm already annoyed. He spoke about his car needing repairs, and I gave him $400 thinking I was being a supportive wife. In December 2021, we even went on a holiday to my home country, paid for by me. I was determined to put reality behind me for the duration of the holiday and have a good time. And that we did. I saw my country through a different lens of luxury, and we discussed plans of spending more time here in this lush greenery and by the golden sandy beaches. One thing about Dan is that he knows how to live it up on someone else's money. He is never overt with what he wants, but will suggest things we could both do, which would be enjoyable. And he would be the perfect, most attentive man to your needs. Bring you water, cook you breakfast, put your shoes on, make engaging, charming small talk with relatives, ask you if you need to slow down and rest some more. Anyway, so 2 days after we get back to the UK, he dropped the biggest bombshell. Oh, he has 2 other wives. Religious, not legal. One in Scotland and one in Egypt. I was stunned. I felt sick. I couldn't believe someone could lie so easily and so deeply. I can believe it. Caveat, I am not against polygyny, so as long as it's done with clear intentions of supporting women and with transparency and consent of all involved. 10 days later, one of them, Nadia, female 50, contacted me. She told me he was a serial cheater who hid behind a religious mask and that he had a long pattern of using women. I wanted to believe she was lying, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. It turned out the lifestyle he flaunted when we met, the flat, the car, the tech, wasn't his doing at all. It was her money. Nadia was a civil servant, and she was the one paying rent on both his London and Scotland flats, covering all the bills, and she owned the car he drove. Oh girl, you're doing too much. She had even given him a credit card with a $2,000 limit. Wild. He had been living off her income and making himself appear self-made. And worse, Nadia was the lodger living in the flat he said was his. Give me a break. This could be a documentary. I kept trying to make peace with the situation despite paying $1,000+ a month in rent and bills on my own. He wasn't helping. Eventually, I reached a breaking point. It was more of an implosion than an explosion. Emotionally detached and almost out of my body, I quietly analyzed him. He was a man who triangulated women and extracted from them as much as he could to enable himself to live a soft life. I deeped how there was no love for me at all from his end, and his manipulation gave me the ick that I could not unsee, and so I set a trap. I told him I planned to move back to my home country and build a new life. I started taking actions towards this. Started talking about my dreams of living luxuriously and used examples of things we did on holiday there to build the picture of what life would be. I was also the picture of acceptance, discussing how he would need to be here in dreary England for half the year to be with his other wife, as that is what is Islamically fair. I stopped reacting, I stopped clinging, I made space for myself and emotionally detached. And that's when he started chasing me. Nadia couldn't handle it. She became increasingly anxious and threatened to harm herself if he left her. Girl, what? Nadia, what is he giving you? But he started pulling away from her more and more. She would send him increasingly more money to lure him back. He would say such terrible things about him. I am certain that with her, he would say terrible things about me. Eventually, she walked in on us one day at his flat and had a breakdown. I had told him that if he wanted me to be a co-wife, this meant that any property in his name was equally shared and to inform her of this. I guess he didn't. She stormed in, called me a hooer over the phone to his mum. Then, simultaneously, held my hand and asked if I needed help to leave him. She was a husk of a person. This is what 7 years of hope and longing and disappointment, so much disappointment, had done to her. She packed up her stuff and left. She stole a few of his things in the process, but to be fair, she did buy them. I ain't leaving. Girl, you pay for that flat. You get out. And to this day, he is not over that. And I stayed, but I set new terms. I wasn't paying rent or bills anymore. This was his flat, his responsibility. I reminded him of his Islamic obligations as a husband and told him I would walk away if he couldn't meet them. His face was a picture of shocked panic and horror. He had lost Nadia, his prized cash cow. He had made the wrong move. He had misread my intentions completely. He was so focused on his own deception that he did not expect to be deceived. From that point on, he was the only one paying the bills, with the hopes that he would rectify his image in my eyes, hopes that we would be moving to my home country soon and he would be living off my dime as he originally planned. Whenever he would portray himself as a victim, I remained quiet as he spoke, never reacting, always positive. The balance of power had shifted. Quietly, strategically, on my terms. When he was at his lowest low, I left. Revenge doesn't always look like rage. Sometimes it's healing in full view of the one who tried to break you and letting them live with the fact that you're thriving without them. And Nadia, girl, if you're reading this, I hope you are well and healed and whole again. Amen, Nadia. I second that. This power move. Power move. That could be a movie right there. Right. The script's written. Sign me up. But I want to be her. I don't want to be Nadia. I want to play her part. I got revenge on my ex by hiding a $2,000 laptop. My ex and I had been dating on and off for about 2 years now. We fought fairly often, but I still tried really hard to make things work between us because he kept insisting that I was the love of his life and how one day he and I would be married. I ignored many red flags, as we do. Like not being able to meet his mother or his sisters, and when it came to his friends, he would tell me that it was weird that I wanted to meet them. Okay? I know that what I did was wrong, but people of Reddit, please understand that I really did love this person. When he got cut off from FAFSA at our college, I paid an entire quarter of tuition for him entirely out of my own pocket. He was in between jobs at the time and I had some money that I was saving. Now he works at a fancy security company and makes more money than I did back then and even now. Back to the story. One of the people in his friends group is this girl that I will call Big B. My ex and Big B were longtime friends and have gone to several events together as well as being frequent online gamers. I wasn't even allowed to play games with them. When my ex invited me to a Comic-Con event about 2.5 hours away from my home, I was really excited to attend with him. Is it Comic-Con or is it Comic? No, it's Comic-Con. Oh my God, I know y'all out there are gonna hate me. Comic-Con, Comic-Con. I spent the whole night preparing for the day and making sure that we had everything we needed to get to the event in the morning. X stayed the night at my house. Since neither of us have a vehicle, we opted to ride the bus to get to Comic-Con. The entire 2.5 hours during our commute, I noticed that my ex, which is current at the time, was more involved with his phone than holding conversation with me. He's being standoffish and picking little fights. I'm confused. I am hurt. I don't understand what's going on. Matt, how do you say Comic-Con? Yeah, so it's not Comic-Con, it's Comic-Con. Okay. Before I even step foot through the doors of the Comic-Con event, it suddenly becomes clear to me why my ex hasn't been talking to me in an affectionate manner the entire way over there. Big B is inside. He tells me that he doesn't want me to meet her because of prior conversations I have had with him about things that make me uncomfortable. Lewd pics knowing he is dating me, direct messages not pertaining to anything in their group chat, which I am not a part of, etc. World of Reddit, please understand that I had no intention of creating any conflict at Comic-Con. I genuinely just wanted to go inside and have a good time with my boyfriend. But that's not what happened. He picks an obvious fight with me over literally nothing. It was a long bus ride there, and there's a Starbucks nearby. I asked if we could go inside together so that I could grab a coffee before we entered the event. He starts yelling, saying that we are already late, and at this point, he would rather just go inside with his friends. Big B has her own boyfriend. Yeah, I don't get it either. I start crying. He leaves me standing outside by myself. He does not return for me. I take the 2.5-hour bus ride home by myself, seething with rage and resentment. I didn't even step 1 foot inside of Comic-Con. My ex left his brand new $2,000 laptop here at my house the night before. I start brainstorming about what I want to do with it. This is not the first time he has ditched me for this other person. I'm well aware that I am an idiot. Well, that makes 2 of us. I started Googling things and realized that as long as this fancy laptop has no internet connection, it is totally untraceable. Jackpot. I pack it up in its carrying case with the mouse pad, headphones, and other accessories. I have a storage unit nearby that has poor cell phone reception and no Wi-Fi. 6 hours pass before he messages me to let me know that he's on his way to my house to pick up his things. His words, not mine. I inform him that I don't want him in my home and I will leave his clothes and his keychain outside of my front door. He claims that his stuff will get stolen if left outside. I tell him, who's gonna steal some pants and an old pocket chain? He calls me 13 times and I ignore every single one. He sends a final message that his laptop better be safe, to which I respond, what laptop? I created an entire false text trail about how he didn't bring one and I haven't seen it. More calls. I ignore them all. He shows up and I refuse to let him in. More banging, more knocking. I don't open the door. He calls the police and I wait for them to arrive before inviting them all inside to look for his supposed laptop. Of course, they don't find it. They spend time looking while I sit back and watch them. You have really committed to this revenge. Eventually, they leave and I can hear the officers outside telling him that after entering my home, there isn't much they can do to assist him in recovering his laptop. It's his word against mine. He still owes me $700 in tuition that I paid for. I can hear him crying outside, but I ignore it even though it makes my heart hurt. I know where his laptop is. It's in my storage unit. I had plenty of time to relocate it while he enjoyed Comic-Con with his friends. Don't worry, I gave it, okay, you gave it back, which you should have. I gave it back without a single scratch on it. but not before I received $700 directly deposited to my bank account. Next time he's short on cash, he can contact Big B to cover his expenses and not me. We haven't spoken since. What a wild ride that was. You really committed to the revenge there. I am happy to hear you gave it back because I don't agree. I don't think we should have stolen the laptop and the things. I was just laughing at your commitment to the revenge. Y'all know what time it is. Grab your beverage. We're hydrating. You should drink some water. You really should, at least a sip. Cheers. Revenge on my former neighbor who vandalized my vehicle. This happened about 15 years ago. My wife and I purchased a home deep in my country in an effort to simplify our lives. We quickly met our neighbors and everything seemed good. A year or so after we moved into the home, my wife got pregnant with our first child. I traveled periodically for work at the time and I was out of town. My wife was wanting to take a relaxing soak in the tub as her feet had swollen due to the pregnancy. As she was trying to relax, the neighbor's dog was barking incessantly. This dog was a large breed and had a big bark. This went on and on for 30 minutes or so. My wife had a pregnancy psycho moment and got out of the tub, put on her bathrobe, and screamed out the door at the neighbor to shut their barking dog up. Well, here's where the story gets pretty fun. The neighbor went full on redneck on us. They renamed their Wi-Fi, SSID, to I love barking dogs. We would find random things vandalized on our property. One day I came home from work to see my wife picking stuff up from the driveway. It turns out that this redneck prick had thrown some poorly made nail devices in our driveway in an attempt to puncture my truck tires. The next event was truly diabolical. I left for work the next morning, and by the time I got to my interstate, my brakes felt sort of squishy. I pulled into a truck stop to inspect the truck. The petcock valve on my front right brake caliper had been loosened and my brake fluid had mostly drained out. This prick tried to kill me. I went postal, but with insidious methods. I work in the IT field, so technology is my thing. I had an old laptop that I installed an OS on that, and it's used for security penetration testing, and I cracked their Wi-Fi. I printed interesting things on their printer, including a convincing email from another woman to the husband. I printed corn photos. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall when the cow found that. I discovered that I could go online and sign up for prison romance pen pals. I signed his wife up and wrote a letter that was supposedly from her. I gave their address and told the inmate enough about their life, like how long they'd been married, what the hubby did for a living, how many kids, dogs, etc. they had, stuff like that, to make it convincing. I expect that her husband had a few words with her after that. I'd never told this story before. I hope it brings someone else a little bit of joy. If the affair stuff wasn't enough, imagine receiving letters from an inmate that's like having a relationship with your wife. Like, as the wife, imagine being the wife and being like, no, like none of this is real. Terrifying. Package thief gets just desserts. A few years ago, someone got significant time in federal lockup for stealing my boyfriend's Christmas gift package that had an unlocked iPhone and laptop for me. I had done this for him a few years before, upgraded him to an Alienware and the latest Samsung Galaxy Note Android phone, and I think he was trying to do something nice for me. It was the holidays and my boyfriend at the time was treating me with an amazing gift, so of course the surprise was ruined, and this left me in tears and completely heartbroken. I felt terrible. He tried doing something extremely generous for me, and the thief ruined Christmas. He relays everything to me on the phone after he reported the devices as stolen at the police station. Some time passes. Apple apparently did not immediately flag the IMEI MEID as stolen for both devices. My guess is they wanted to see where these devices ended up, see if the thief was stupid enough to use or sell it, etc. This significantly delayed the gift from being given to me because Apple had to wait until after the investigation was complete to file the insurance claim or something. It's been years, so I don't remember precisely what the holdup was, but I think substantial inventory shortages also played a significant role in the delay as well. My boyfriend was obviously extremely upset, stressed out, annoyed, and panicked. But he took the PD report paper, left the present, and told me to trust the process and let law enforcement do their thing. Spent Christmas with our families. I refused to accept any replacement Christmas present of monetary value after the whole theft package ordeal, so he decided to gift me thoughtful homemade gifts instead. Some artwork. He was really talented at creating paintings. Gave me chocolates, made me a cute coupon gift thing where I could redeem the ticket and coupons for cute things like a home-cooked meal, massage, get him to do my laundry, clean our apartment, etc. Despite us being irritated and stressed out, I did end up using his brother's iPhone 5 to fall back on while I bided my time and waited for law enforcement to share an update with my boyfriend. I also had an operational laptop to hold me over, but it was a 2009 MacBook Pro that no longer connected to the internet without a hardwire internet cable, which was frustrating beyond belief. Went on with our lives as normal. He'd occasionally get extremely limited updates from the investigators, but it more or less went on the back burner while we were generally preoccupied with our lives, jobs, families, careers, school, etc. Seasons change, birthdays happen, it's now mid to late springtime, and it starts to feel like it's almost summer when my boyfriend gets an update, and this ends up being a significant update. Surely enough, because it was an unlocked/unregistered iPhone from Apple, he paid it upfront in full. The jackass decided not to go sell it, but instead waited a few weeks and then used the stolen iPhone for his own device upgrade. Needless to say, dude was cooked. Warrants and subpoenas was served on the devices and the person/people it was tracked back to. Even a thief's house. From there, they were able to obtain evidence of a lot of other theft reports he was suspected of being involved in. Turns out, dude was a notorious package thief involved in a massive bigger theft package thief ring, and apparently he was already on PD radar for quite some time. I didn't get many details. He was only told about his particular package thief. I don't have specifics as this was his case, his purchase, and his package missing. Thief dude had also listed my what? I don't even know what word just came out of my mouth. Thief dude had also listed my new laptop on one of those selling platforms that facilitates in-person meetups. I forget which one. An undercover cop went through the whole process to try to meet up with him to buy the laptop. In person. It was perfect. The dude turned out to be the dude turned out to be the delivery driver, and he was so messy that he had done like this so much that his job and the cops were already on top of it. They apparently suspected the dude pretty early on in the investigation. So he was the deliverer of the package and instead just took it. My boyfriend's case was one of dozens that involved a substantially larger sting operation that spanned across the metro area on the East Coast. I don't remember if the thief dude got sentenced to repay restitution, but Apple did end up eventually shipping the replacement devices to my boyfriend's parents' local Apple store. He wanted to be 100% sure that they'd be successfully delivered this time. Yes. It took forever before I got my replacement gifts. I was able to get my gifts as promised, fully delivered and in my possession after July 4th. The laptop was replaced much earlier than the iPhone. It was mid-semester, right after midterms, but I don't remember exactly when. It took a couple months, but after he was told everything that happened, it was worth it, to be honest. I'm confused about the title of this, Darina. Why does it say package thief gets just desserts? Like, was the revenge that he got arrested? I was expecting like a package full of desserts. What about the dessert? Sent flowers to a dead ex. I, 18 male, had an ex, 18 female, who I haven't talked to in months. Fast forward to last week, I was talking to a group of friends and her name came up in conversation from a friend of a friend. This friend thought that her and I were still together, and when I explained that we weren't, we continued the conversation about it, and it got me thinking how she's been. Mind you, she went ghost and like really made me hurt, but because I'm very apologetic, I didn't let it bother me. After the conversation though, I thought I'd reach out and just see how she's doing. So I text her friend, because she's got me blocked, just to see how she's doing, and her friend was all cool about it and the whole thing seemed fine. Until my ex texted my friend acting like her sister, saying that she had died. Little did she know, I remember when she pulled the same stunt with their ex before me. So the revenge. Me and a group of friends made the 51-minute drive to her house to pay our respects. What we did was went to a gas station and bought all their flowers, put them in a basket and put a card in it marked "Our deepest condolences." The card was filled with some of the finest glitter that we could find at the dollar store, and we were off to deliver them. When we get to her house, I told my friends to stay back while I went up and knocked on the door. I set the flowers down on the porch and I walked away. As I'm walking away, however, her dad answered the door and went, "Can I help you?" To which I replied, "I'm so sorry for your loss. Her name meant so much to me and it's sad to see her go." In confusion, her dad responded, "Her name is not dead." As me and the boys leave, her friends show up in her car. Then she looks at me and my friend says, "What are you doing here? I thought you died." Her dad was furious and essentially took all her freedoms away until summer and gave me and my friends each $20 for the inconvenience and gas money. I don't understand though why you would tell someone you're dead. I feel like that's pretty easy to figure out if they're not. Let me know your thoughts on these stories down in the comments. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.